Well, I was very passionate about playing the role because she is an amazing, fascinating, confusing, infuriating, incredible woman.
It is a gigantic epic film, so that you know that you'll appeal to audiences in that regard. It's an extraordinary classic story of a girl who comes from nowhere, meets the most famous man in that country, and then becomes one of the most powerful and famous people in South America, and indeed the world, and then died tragically young. It actually is a story that Hollywood might have written themselves.
I felt sort of possessed because I was standing where she once stood, and there was an electricity in the air, and it was one of those magical moments. Down at the thousands of extras, I felt like a lot of them were looking up at me and sort of thinking I was her, so it just turned it into this kind of surreal moment.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is I never left you. All through my wild days, my mad existence, I kept my promise. Don't keep your distance.
Pretty hands reach out and they reach wide. Now you may feel it should have been a voluntary cause, but that's not the point, my friends. When the money keeps rolling in, you don't ask how. Think of all the people guaranteed a good time now. Eva told the hungry to her, open up the doors. Never been a fan like the foundation, never parole.
There are four main sung parts. Obviously, Madonna is playing Eva Perón, Antonio Banderas playing the character Che, who is the narrator of the piece, Jonathan Pryce is playing Juan Perón, and Jimmy Nail is playing tango singer Agustin Magaldi.
Would you like to try a college education? On your landlord's house, take the family on vacation. Eva and her blessed fund can make your dreams come true.
It was Tim Rice's idea. He was very intrigued by the fact that she was mentioned in the context of a whole load of 50s figures who were very successful, including people like James Dean. And I think he was curious as to find out why she became this kind of cult figure, or this huge figure in Argentina.
Here's all you have to do, my friends. Write your name and your dream on a card, on a pad, on a ticket. Throw it high in the air and shoot Our Lady Picket. She will change your way of life for a week or even two. Name me anyone who cares as much as Eva Perón.
No major problems there.
No.
I just think we do need something in the rhythm track that throws the accent, so it isn't all 1 2 1 2 1 2 3.
Yeah.
So we do actually get some some things across it, because it anchors it a bit.
Probably a bit flamenco-ish guitars as well that could take the rhythm the other way.
Yeah. I realise actually just that there are some wonderful things in it that which is great for us to actually be able to explore again, because the recording, of course, is going to be a lot better than the original was by definition, because things have come along and we've also got a bit more time and money than we had back then.
is this critical character, this cynical, ironic guy who is all the time going in and out of the story. I suppose it's going to be difficult, yeah. Because even if he's different characters, he's going to be a waiter if she's in a restaurant, he's going to be a reporter if she's on the streets, and he's going to be many different characters during the whole movie. I think we have to forget that it's Che Guevara.
Never been a lady loved as much as ever Peru.
And I was living in a little pension, you know, very, very low class pension in Madrid. But it was wall to wall with the theater where they were performing Evita. So every night I couldn't sleep at all because of the music of Evita. They were performing until 1:30 in the morning. So even the wall, I remember in the more noisy numbers, the whole wall was moving like I couldn't sleep at all.
Evita is a sung-through piece. It's musical drama, opera, whatever word one wants to use. But other than that, I'm not making any nods to it being a musical.
Right. Bravo!
I will make it as if I was making a straightforward dramatic film, like I was making Midnight Express on Mississippi Burning. It just happens that people are going to be singing the dialogue, and hopefully that will be as realistic and naturalistic as possible. When we first arrived, it was actually, not very nice to come from the airport and see these huge signs everywhere saying, "Go home, Madonna," or more importantly, "Go home, Alan Parker and your film crew," which was very worrying. But it proved to be like a very small group of people.
Some small group of a very conservative faction of the new Peronist regime in Buenos Aires had started painting slogans on the walls in certain areas of the city saying, Evita lives, Madonna go home, or Evita lives, Alan Parker go home, because they didn't want us to make the movie, period. The press blew it out of proportion. They made it seem like we arrived and there were just like riots and people throwing hand grenades at us and that we were totally unwelcome.
I get out here when it's hottest. Stand back, you ought to know what you're gonna get in me. Just a little touch of star quality.
Well, we had a big press conference. Just really, a lot of the sort of fears really were about the kind of film they thought we were going to make, rather than the actual film we were going to make. In the end, we're making a film. It's the biggest film ever made in Argentina, and therefore we had to attract a lot of attention from the press because not a lot else happens here, and we're the only game in town at the moment.
Eventually, we did turn a lot of people around, and I think that my interviewing people and meeting with people, a lot of them were high-ranking political officials, and it slowly trickled up to the top that we were, A, very serious about what we were doing, and B, we were going to make a very respectful film, a fair film.
High, flying adored, so young, the instant queen, a rich, beautiful thing, of all the talent, a cross between a fantasy of the bedroom and a saint. You were just a backstreet girl, hustling and fighting, scratching and biting, high, flying adored. Did you believe in your wildest moments all this would be yours, that you'd become the lady of them all? Were the stars in your eyes when you crawled in at night? From the bars, from the sidewalks, from the gutter theatrical. Don't look down, it's a long, long way to fall.
I would say the turning point when I'm getting ready each day is once I have my contacts in. Because they're brown, they make me see everything in a different way. They tint everything. And when I have my teeth in, because she had slightly buck teeth, and it kind of makes me hold my mouth and speak in a different way. So that helps me feel like her.
Birds fly out of here, so why, oh why, oh why the hell can't I? I only want variety of society. I wanna be a part of being a Buenos Aires Big Apple. She wants to be a part of being a Buenos Aires Big Apple.
Well, before I went to Argentina, I just did massive amounts of research just in, you know, going through archives, going to, you know, just reading everything I could get my hands on and watching as much documentary footage as I could that Alan gave me and that I'd gotten through a few other sources. And then I went down to Buenos Aires 3 weeks before we started shooting, and I had made friends with an Argentine journalist in London while I was recording the soundtrack, and she promised to sort of be a liaison with me, with all these people, members of the sort of hardcore Peronist people that worked with her, friends that grew up with her, people that were against her, like a real cross-section of people that were around her when she was alive. And I went down there and I sort of interviewed everybody, and that was really exciting. That was...
You became even more fascinating.
Oh my God, yeah. The more I found out about her, the more I wanted to do it, and the more I was sure I could do it. And I became sort of obsessed with her and sort of figuring out, because everybody I talked to was either completely against her or completely for her, and I just thought, okay, where's the truth in all of this?
Here, so why, oh why, oh why the hell can't I? I only want variety of society. I wanna be a part of being a Buenos Aires Big Apple.
I think we had some things in common. She was incredibly courageous to have done the things that she'd done, to come from where she came from, to go to Buenos Aires without any formal training, without knowing anyone, without relatives. I mean, to have started where she started, to then go to where she arrived at was amazing and required an awful lot of courage, and I can definitely relate to that. I went to New York when I was 17. She went to Buenos Aires when she was 15.
Never beware your ambition. It's hungry and cold, can't be controlled, will run wild. This in a man is danger enough, but you are a woman, not even a woman, not very much.
Time and time again, I've said that I don't care, that I'm immune to gloom, that I'm hard through and through. But every time it matters, all my words desert me, so anyone can hurt me, and they do. So what happens now?
I know a suitcase in another
So what
world.
happens now?
Take your picture of another world.
Where am I going
You'll get
to?
by, you always have before.
Where am I going to?
Working with Doris, it has been really good. I mean, we had a very good time recording the soundtrack in the studio. She's obviously, that's a world she knows, you know, like the back of her hand, as it were. And here, we expected many more problems than we've got, I think, because the problems are to do with fans who wake me up in the middle of the night when they're screaming, "Madonna, Madonna, come to the window." And unfortunately, it's my window they're screaming at. I can't look exactly like Perron, but I've attempted to suggest, I mean, he's a much fatter, bigger man. It's a 2-hour makeup job, building up the nose and wearing a false, you know, sort of mask of teeth, because he had a mouth full of shining white teeth. And he had a head full of shining black hair. And it is odd that, you know, you don't look exactly like him, and yet when I worked with the Argentinian actors and extras here, they do remark on the sort of resemblance and the presence of Perón.
Vamos a ensayar. Okay, so it comes to me. Come to me. Right? Okay. Yeah, very pleased to meet you. Look, I'd like you to meet you, and you say hello to her. Very good. Okay. And then boom, in comes the next one. Yeah?
I mean, one of the main reasons I wanted to do this film was to work with Alan. He's an extraordinary filmmaker and one of the world's great filmmakers, and he's assembled. It always sounds very corny when you talk about the great team behind it, but he has.
Okay, let's do a full rehearsal. Okay, another rehearsal. Going to one. Okay, and way back.
At the watering holes of the well-to-do, I detect a resistance to precisely our harrowing style. We're glad you noticed. The shooting sticks of the upper class, give her an inch, aren't supporting a single ass that will rise for the girl. She'll take a mile. Such a shame she wandered into our enclosure. How unfortunate this person has forced us to be blunt. No, we would his heart, seeing her as Harrods, but behind the jewelry counter, not in front.
I think I have actually more than 82 costume changes. 82 costume changes was what it was in the beginning, but we added some costume changes as we went along, and then Alan said, oh no, I want you to wear something different here, and so I think it's probably about up to 90 at this point.
Eyes, hair, mouth, figure, dress, voice, style, movement, hands, magic, rings, glamour, face, diamond, excitement.
I'm very particular about what I wear, and I think I know a lot about clothes, so I had an awful lot of input with Penny Rose, the costume designer.
I think in reality she was a kind of Imelda Marcos of her time. She absolutely loved clothes and hats and shoes and had squillions. And the reason people comment all the time is because she never seemed to wear anything twice. I mean, it's almost a kind of Princess Diana thing.
I came from the people, they need to adore me. So Christian Dior me, from my head to my toes. I need to be dazzling, I want to be rainbow high.
This is an outfit that we're all very, very fond of, which is an original that I found in Los Angeles. It's got a rather good hat that goes with it. So she looks, you know, absolutely fabulous in it.
There again, I've more to do than simply get the message through. I haven't started. Let's get this show on the road. Let's make it obvious. Perón is off and rolling.
I'd say that for every suit and every outfit, there was at least 6 hats to choose from. So you can imagine there's like a whole truck just for the hats.
Eyes, hair, mouth, figure, dress, voice, style, movement, hands, magic, rings, glamour, face, diamond, excitement.
She was such a dramatic person, and as I said, you know, her hair was so very important. So from my point of view, it was just a wonderful project. I've enjoyed recreating all the hairstyles because she just had so many hairstyles, Eva Perón.
She did it different ways. When she had her hair in the 40s rolls, she wore it on the back to accommodate the hair. But then when she started pulling it back, the more swept back, with the braid at the back, the nape of her neck, she would often wear hats, you know, either down in her face, cocked to the side, or on top of her head.
She used her hair tremendously in changing her image. Alan and Madonna both decided that they liked the shorter look better. So we started with that, and then she progressed, and as she became more sophisticated, she just went on getting more exciting with her hair. She always used her hair as part of the changing of her image all the way through her life. Alan was very adamant at the beginning, you know, about how much the hair was going to be a main feature.
I'm their savior, that's what they call me.
here. Antonio, soprano raise. Come with them for three, the beginning of the verse.
Yes.
And then gradually go up and 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 then just see the gigantic amount. Well, I think that all of us have been affected by actually being in Buenos Aires. You know, when we've had all the difficulties that we had to start with, you know, it was my fault. I'm the one who wanted to be here because, you know, the spiritual heart of this film is in Buenos Aires, in Argentina.
What Alan is trying to do is just to do the whole thing very realistic. He doesn't want to do a parody. He's looking for real location. He's looking for real actors, and I think we have to act as most real as possible. I'm gonna try to forget that I'm singing and try just to communicate things with the other person that I have in front of me. Of course, with the audience.
Play back.
How could you love me? I've suffered the way that you do. I've been unemployed and I've starved and I've hated it too. But I found my salvation in Peron. May the nation let him save them as he saved me.
David Lean says we're lost of the travelling circuses, and indeed that's what we are, you know, just a number of trucks and personnel and equipment needed for a modern big film.
These ladies on that side.
Here in Argentina, we found an incredible collaboration from the extras that are working with us. They really are going to be at the end of the movie and in our production like another main character. You can see that immediately.
And then I'll do a separate thing where I'll just put you amongst them, me in the water.
Me in the water?
Yeah, just for, it'll be just 1 month. Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen with my choreography.
Well, this sequence started out as a choreographed number, but I'm afraid anarchy has taken over. These people are just doing their own thing to the music. You know, film's organic. As a director, you have to go where the magic is.
The only one thing is that I will have the playback a little bit before. A little bit before. I can be like this with these guys just playing, and in the moment I say Eva, I can turn to the scene. Basically, it's about people who are hoping something from the government in Argentina for the first time in their lives. And Eva Duarte probably was the first person who took conscious of suffering of the people, the poor people, what she was calling the descamisados, which means basically people without shirt. And so it's about that. It's people with the hope of receiving something.
I think it was June of last year that I first asked President Menem if we could film on the balcony at Casa Rosada. And he said, no way. And he's been telling me no way for the last 9 months. And then out of the blue, he said yes. No one knows why. So we've had 2 days to put all this together. But it's worth it.
Yesterday they were shooting from outside up to the balcony.
Never close to you?
No, not too close.
Use the crowd, sweep across the crowd.
Los que vinieron del micro van pasando.
It's magical what happened in the monitor, because I was watching the monitor and I thought that the square was completely full.
No torches on this one. This is
Among the people like this,
That's nice.
it's kind of magical moment.
pasan para hacer todo. Ahora estamos yendo para el otro balcón.
I was told that Michelle Pfeiffer really wanted the role and that she was seriously being considered for it. So I decided to make this sort of impassioned plea to Alan, and I wrote him a very long letter explaining to him why I was the only person that could play this part and telling him how passionate I was about it. And I heard from him sometime later, and we had several meetings, and even after the several meetings I didn't know if I had the part. But eventually I did, and I think that took about 7 years.
It's like being on a movie set, so actually it makes our job that much easier, but we're in the middle of the 5th biggest city in the whole world, so you try and think, when you look around, it's actually kind of surreal. It's like being in Trafalgar Square and owning the whole of Trafalgar Square to make a movie, but...
Jonathan? I think he's pretty much cued it so that as soon as he plays it, you turn around to get me.
It's a weird feeling. I don't know. How often in life do you ever stand on any historic place, and when you're trying to recreate an entire film around one woman, and really the image is one woman in this spot, just there, looking down at that, is for a filmmaker whose job is about illusion, and suddenly it's not an illusion, it's a reality.
I dreaded having to sing this song in the studio, and I dreaded having to film the scene on the balcony because it's the scene everybody knows, the famous balcony scene, and everyone's going to come to the movie waiting for that scene, and there's an enormous amount of expectation.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is I never left you. All through my wild days, my mad existence, I kept my promise. Don't keep your distance. Have I said too much? There's nothing more I can think of to say to you. But all you have to do is look at me to know that every word is true.
left Buenos Aires on a high, having done the Casa Rosada. So that was pretty nice. And then to have to come to a different country in any production and start all over again from a standing start is always hard, especially to start with something as hard as this. The reason that I decided to come here was that the problem with Buenos Aires now is it's been completely modernised. As most Eastern European countries, the architecture is still intact, and this architecture is very similar to Buenos Aires in the 30s and 40s.
So here we are in Budapest, Argentina.
Actually, it looks a bit like Argentina. With a flag.
Buenos Aires,
okay.
Hungary.
Evita, in my opinion, Andrew Lloyd Webber's best work, will be watched by many, many people. I think that certainly the play has been and the record has been very popular all over the world. So I'm looking forward to really exciting audiences with the movie.
What's on the menu tonight?
On the menu tonight is... Did you take my lines? Did I give them to you?
I've brought many projects back to Hungary, but of course this production has been the biggest one I've ever been involved with as far as Hungary is concerned. The reason why they came to Hungary was, in fact, because of the possibilities of these huge scenes on the streets of Budapest. And Budapest sort of looks like Buenos Aires.
How are we going to fake the cold tonight? Andy, you're the producer, you have to tell me this.
But you're supposed to act very warm.
Yeah, I'm supposed to act. He became funny.
Well, I almost brought the heat.
Where, in your cigar?
Almost brought the heat.
It's true, you came...
Hi, nice palm trees.
Change up the message on child. In New Argentina, the voice of the people cannot be and must not be denied. You actually only on the playback on the first 3 lines.
Should I sing anyway?
Just one man, but yeah.
Okay. Argentina,
the chains of the masses untied. New Argentina, the voice
of the people
cannot be
and
must not be denied.
Who are you anyway? I forget.
Cipriano Reyes.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. It's been a long time.
I'm going to try
Damn,
it
it's cold.
We have to see for real tonight.
A new Argentina, chains of the masses.
A new Argentina, the voice of the people, cannot be and must not be denied. I was starting to walk in the music. Gallagher, I'll stand on B. I'll stand on B.
Are we not? How could you love me?
I think my favorite song is the new song, You Must Love Me. It's beautiful, it's simple, and I haven't heard it a million times.
We've written a song called You Must Love Me, and I think that will actually tell us an awful lot about Ava's sort of emotional state at that time.
Where do we go from here? This isn't where we intended to be. We had it all. You believed in me. I believed in you. Certainties disappear. What do we do for our dream to survive? How do we keep all our passions alive as we used to do? Deep in my heart, I'm concealing things that I'm longing to say. Scared to confess what I'm feeling. Frightened you'll slip away. You must love me. You must love me.
In spite of what anyone may say about, Ava and Juan used each other, or they just, it was a relationship of convenience or for power, whatever, I do believe that they loved each other.
We're going behind the over there. Come on.
Boy, lad.
Okay, let me have the sailors.
Let's get them all in their groups. Just the Army. Hold up on the Navy. When I get there, and then what I want to do is split them. We're going to have half on one side of the street, half on the other, and they'll be stationary facing the street.
Close up. Not really with foreground, so we should... Tomorrow. Front angle, high, done, side angle. You know, you've got to get some humanity in it. I think that's a bullshit shot, though.
Hey, Madonna!
We had lots of documentary footage of the actual funeral, and as a film director, you greedily want to recreate the whole thing, but to replicate it exactly would be, you know, quite frankly, impossible. I mean, I can't have 2 million people out here, but there's 4,000 extras there, and goodness knows what else, so it should be pretty impressive.
It's going to be fascinating for me because it's the first movie musical I've worked on and as closely involved with the director as I've become. And I think Alan and I now have developed a little bit of an understanding about where we both come from, because he's seen me work now with the orchestra and he knows that I'm a perfectionist and he's a perfectionist. Therefore, we're a bit of a marriage.
Say more energy, more energy.
I still haven't sung very much. Most of what I've done is a lot of walking, a lot of waving, a lot of shaking hands, hugging, kissing. This is early days for me in Budapest. The bulk of what I've got left to do are the intimate scenes between Evita and Perón, and the political machinations and his rise to power. Virtually, I've still got everything left to do, everything left to play for, as they say at home. So I'm going to get back to bury the wife now, and see you later. Bye.
We have here the big, massive scenes, you know, with like 4,000 guys on the street, extras and horses, and it's pretty spectacular. I saw, for the first time in my life, I saw yesterday a producer jumping around and, you know, looking at the sky and saying, oh my God, this is fantastic, you know. The director too, I shouldn't say that, but Alan was pretty happy yesterday because it's a challenge.
Depending on where your side frames are,
yeah,
you can fold around some of the crowd, so you got another layer behind the
absolutely. We'll just line up. I think we're going to be fine, actually. I mean, it seems to fit almost beautifully.
Have to assume probably or presume that everybody who's involved in this project loves risks, and I do.
I think that this isn't really like any musical that's ever been made, because it's mostly sung, the dialogue. On the other hand, it's not an opera because it's done in a very naturalistic way. So if it succeeds, we will have succeeded in creating a whole new art form.
It's a classic story told with music and images, and if you can communicate with music and images, you take film to another place, and only the audience will tell me whether we've done that or not, you know. We hope we have.
There is zero ever a grand fundamental system of government, quite incidental. So